This is Real News Media TV, coverage you can trust. Please like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Select all for daily news updates. Man dies after falling from bike in Portland. A man died along the Snow Hill Main Road in Portland last night after falling from his bike. He has been identified as Sean Michael Douglas of a red light district in St. Catherine. It is reported that about 11:30 p.m., Douglas was traveling along the roadway when he fell from his motorcycle and sustained injuries. He subsequently died. The scene was later processed by police investigators, and his body was removed to the morgue for further investigations. Commanding officer in charge of the Portland Police Division, Superintendent Kenneth Chin, said that the police have increased the operational activities, including more checkpoints, to boost the safety in the parish. More than 27,000 Jamaicans to get cash grants under COVID-19 assistance program. Approximately 27,357 Jamaicans will receive a one-off payment under the COVID-19 cash assistance program. The $155 million cash transfer initiative is aimed at aiding poor and needy persons who are not benefiting from government social assistance. The United Nations World Food Program, through the Canadian government, provided a grant to the Ministry of Labour and Social Security to undertake the initiative. The ministry will oversee the equitable distribution of the funds. The cash distribution is being facilitated by YPay Jamaica Limited through its network of outlets across the island. Speaking at the launch at the ministry in Kingston last Tuesday, Portfolio Minister Carl Samuda said that the use of YPay will increase efficacy in the distribution of the funds and to facilitate greater levels of accountability. We saw the need to make most of our activities digital so that persons can choose when to go to collect what they need. They will then have the cash to do so as they like and the place of choice to shop, etc. It allows for greater flexibility, greater accountability, because the system is one that makes a provision for automatic audit, which is very important to us, he said. We welcome it. It is a precursor to what is en route because we want to convert the entire operation of our ministry to a digital platform where we can have instant recall, instant assessment. We will be able to monitor very quickly all that has transpired, so it is a welcome intervention, and we look forward to the success that will result from it, he added. Structured Farm Watch program incoming. Guidelines will be introduced to create structured farm watch programs in communities as the Ministry of Agriculture and the police seek to strengthen efforts to reduce predial larceny. Head of the Predial Larceny Prevention Coordination Unit, Superintendent Oral Pasco, addressing the matter recently on the news, explained that among other things, the guidelines will make it mandatory for farm watch groups to have an executive body. These groups will also be expected to develop early warning systems to alert farmers so they are able to take proactive steps to secure their crops and the livestock. Police data reportedly show that there is a high incidence of predial larceny in communities where there are no organized farm watch groups. According to Superintendent Pasco, a farm watch program is an effective crime reduction and a prevention strategy because it helps the members of the community to pool their resources.
Before a farm watch can be deemed ready for official launch, the following criteria must be met. The group must be organized into a single body. So it can be various communities, it's not by community, that's farm or region, that farmer group. The group must have stated objectives to include the implementation of best practices to minimize opportunities for loss due to stealing. Must have an executive body, which is critical. It cannot be some ragtag persons come together and say, hey, we're a farmers watch. With a sitting president, must agree on a slate of agreed strategies to prevent predial larceny within the designated space. So we say, here to here, these communities, we're going to do this, we're going to put certain things in place. We're going to ensure that our farms are secure. We're going to have, for example, a WhatsApp system, an alert system, so whenever a strange vehicle comes in, we have a link to the local police and support to calm patrol the whole island. And there's a lot of, they are spread out all over to actually put the resources where it will have be the most impactful. But the farmers will have to organize. Because farmers looking at the farmers, because when they steal from John, and John says nothing, tomorrow is your time. So we have to be our brother's keeper. So we're looking at ramping up and organizing it, and we're going to have some rollout. Probably we're going to put it as nationally recognized from the ministry within the JSA, but it's going to be a lot more coordinated going forward.
Stop walkout protest, Chang urges government senators. Deputy Prime Minister Dr. Harris Chang is urging government senators to use the appropriate channel to address concerns they have about opposition Senator Lambert Brown's conduct in the upper house instead of walking out. Senator Kamina Johnson-Smith, who is a leader of government business in the upper house, has left the chamber on several occasions when Mr. Brown is speaking. On some occasions, her colleagues have also left the chamber in solidarity with her to protest what they say is Mr. Brown's consistent displays of disrespectful, discourteous, and unparliamentary conduct. Dr. Chang, who is also General Secretary of the governing Jamaica Labour Party, is advising the government senators, however, to bring the matter to the attention of Parliament's Ethics Committee instead of walking out of the chamber.
It has impeded the process of government. The caucus took some committees. I think they should examine the standing orders and the president look if Mr. Brown is being abusive or unduly or abusing his privilege in the Senate, and bring it to the Ethics Committee, in Parliament. That's really the issue, an issue of this, when it would look a deliberate attempt to attack, to not to attack but harass the House leader as well as the women of that side, of the government side. I think they should have looked at the parliamentary rules and apply the rules and deal decisively with Mr. Brown rather than withdraw. I think that should be examined.
JHTA supports more testing of tourism workers. Clifton Reeder, president of the Jamaica Hotel and Tourist Association, is supporting the call for increased testing of tourism workers for COVID-19. Last week, opposition spokesman on health Dr. Maurice Guy called for increased testing among tourism workers in the wake of news that the number of cases being identified among tourists is rising. Mr. Reeder has argued that the increase in cases at hotels is not unexpected given the uptick in the general population. In that regard, he agrees that increased testing for workers is needed. Mr. Reeder told the news that he is expecting that some of the COVID-19 self-test kits being bought by the Ministry of Health and Wellness will be distributed to tourism entities.
We've been advocating for that for a long time. In fact, a year and a half ago when I became president, we set up the ambassador program, and the ambassador program looked at the gap that employees come and work in the hotels and they go home, right? They could bring the virus from home to work or vice versa. Just carry out some antibody testing to gauge, because we keep saying that only 24% or so of the population has been double vaccinated. But what percentage of the population is carrying antibodies and are protected?
2 gunned down in separate incidents in Spanish Town. 2 men were killed in separate incidents in Spanish Town, St. Catherine on Sunday. In the first incident, a 30-year-old laborer, Rashida Myers, otherwise called a MAGA man, was shot and killed by unknown assailants. It is reported that Myers was walking in his Lakes Pen community about 11:55 a.m. when he was shot multiple times. His attackers then fled. The police were called to the area. In the second incident, explosions were heard in the neighboring community of Quarry Hill. The body of a man was discovered lying in blood near a car. He had multiple gunshot wounds. The police have since increased their presence in the area. Red Stripe robbed. Thieves have reportedly made off with millions of dollars worth of liquor during a robbery at a Red Stripe on Spanish Town Road, St. Andrew, yesterday morning. Details are still sketchy, but police have confirmed the robbery and they said the incident occurred when a gunman entered the premises and tied up a security guard on duty. The amount of liquor stolen and the exact value could not be ascertained, but police sources said it ran into millions. Information reaching the news is that about 2 a.m., the gunman reportedly managed to get on the premises, held up the security, and tied him up with a piece of telephone cord. The man then reportedly opened the main entrance of the facility, and a flatbed truck and another vehicle entered. The thieves managed to gain entry to the warehouse and used a forklift to load the 2 vehicles with multiple liquors before leaving the premises. 84 new COVID-19 cases, 1 additional fatality. 1 more COVID-19 death has been recorded in Jamaica, increasing the tally to 2,464. The deceased is a 56-year-old woman from St. Catherine, and 1 more fatality is under investigation, moving that figure to 349. Meanwhile, there were 84 new cases with ages ranging from 2 months to 94 years, pushing the total to 92,789. Of the new cases, 44 are women and 40 are men. The parish breakdown is as follows: Hanover 20, Kingston and St. Andrew 20, St. Anne 17, St. James 8, Westmoreland 7, St. Catherine 5, Trelawney 2, Portland, St. Thomas and St. Mary 1, Clarendon, Manchester and St. Elizabeth recorded no new cases. A total of 333 tests were conducted. The country's positivity rate stands at 25.2%. In the meantime, there were 150 more recoveries, increasing the total to 65,182. Some 80 persons are in hospital, with 16 being moderately ill, 14 severely ill, and 3 critically ill. 1 person is in government quarantine, while 20,448 are at home. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Select all for daily news updates.